We're here with another live. Um, know the lighting isn't the best and so forth, but this is gonna be a great live. Okay, so guys, just bear with me. We're gonna be here about 20 minutes unless people come. Um, and I'm gonna give you guys the principle number one for generating wealth. So before I can get into the principle one on one, if you don't follow the channel, you definitely have to understand what I'm about to discuss first before I can get into the first principle. So there are laws that govern the universe. There are laws that govern the order of this life. Um, if you think about it in a sense of like let's take traffic for example. When you operate a motor vehicle, and the laws vary from state to state, from city to city, but regardless of where you're at, there are laws that that you are expected to adhere to when you are operating a motor vehicle. Okay. So those laws that are established are for the well-being of the road, other people who are on the road, right? So, for instance, there's a law that says that you are supposed to stop at a red light. You're supposed to slow down at a yellow light and stop at a red light. Now, I know some of us we hit the gas. We hit the gas whenever we get to the I'm just trying to get some better light for you guys. This is probably not the best light, but it's okay. We're gonna make it work. Um, so a lot of us we gonna hit the gas when the yellow comes, right? Because we're trying to get to where we're going. But the law is you go on green, you slow down on yellow, you stop on red. So that's an example of a law that governs the order of society. Another law that governs the order of society is that you cannot steal from another person. It is a crime to take somebody else's property without their consent. That is called theft. And so that is a crime. Again, depending on where you're at, you're punished to a different degree for committing that crime. But it is a crime, and in some cases, you can go to jail depending on the monetary value of what it is that you're stealing. So, again, this is another example of a law that governs the order of society. So there are laws that govern the order of society. So just as much as there's laws that govern the order of society, there's laws that govern the world in and of itself, right? So let's take, for example, gravity. Gravity is a force that acts on the earth. And basically, what it does, without getting into the scientific definition of it, gravity pulls everything to the center. Gravity pulls everything to the earth. So, everything that is on this earth is subject to gravity. Whether you want to accept gravity or not, gravity does apply to you. The same thing with the automobile. When you're operating a motor vehicle, all of the laws that are required that you are to follow when you're operating a motor vehicle apply to you because you're operating a motor vehicle. The same thing with gravity. Because you are on this earth and you are living life on this earth, gravity applies to you. Now, let's go back to the traffic example. You can think that the traffic laws don't apply to you because you're above the law, and you're going to find out that you're probably going to get pulled over by a cop. He's going to write you a ticket for speeding, he's going to write you a ticket for running a red light, and you're going to find out that no, you're not above the law and you are subject to the law. The same thing with gravity, right? You're going to find out if you want to defy gravity, you're going to find out if you decide to jump off of a two-story building, you will find out that gravity applies to you. That's just what it is. So we've established laws that govern the order of society. I've given you guys a law that governs the order of the world in a physical sense. So just as much as we have those laws, we also have spiritual laws. And so that is really what the commentary about for today is we're talking about spiritual laws and how they govern your trajectory to wealth. So there's a spiritual law, and this is the principle for wealth building 101. This is the first principle that you have to understand. You have to understand this principle. You can't go no further. It's no different than if you're trying to do algebra, but you don't understand arithmetic. It's no different if you're trying to do calculus, but you don't understand algebra. You can't graduate through the progressions of building wealth if you don't understand the most elementary principle of building wealth. So, the most elementary principle of building wealth is a spiritual law, and that spiritual law is seed time and harvest time. And what you otherwise might know that as is sowing and reaping. Or you might also, some people call it, you get out what you put in. Or some people might say, what goes around comes around. So there's a lot of different ways that we are basically saying the same thing. But for my liking, because I'm going to give you guys a example that's related to a garden and plants, we're going to go with seed time and harvest time. And that's actually um, the spiritual law is actually called the law of sowing and reaping. So seed time and harvest time. So some of you might be into gardening, some of you might not. Um, I, for one, am. I love to garden. I have a bunch of trees that I planted out in my yard. I have a bunch of different plants. I'm actually growing a lemon tree right now, and I'm also growing a avocado tree. And so I'm hoping that within the next year, those two trees will be able to bear fruit. And I don't even like avocados personally, but I just like trees, and it's a beautiful tree. And so I was like, okay, well, whatever avocados I get from the tree, I'll just give them to somebody. Now the lemons, on the other hand, I probably maybe I'll make try to make like homemade lemonade with it. But there's also other things you can use lemonades for, like your skin and stuff. There's a lot of different uses. I said lemonade. There's a lot of different uses for lemon that I would find some use for. So for the lemons, I'll probably give some of them away. But for most part, I'm probably gonna keep my lemons. Um, but that's just a little tidbit about me as far as, like, gardening and so forth. But but life can be likened to a garden. So if you've ever seen a tree, that tree, what you see, if you look at a fully grown tree, the tree didn't just all of a sudden become a fully grown tree. Like, it didn't just, they put it in the ground and it just became like, no, that tree went through many progressions, and it grew to the stage that it's at over time. So that tree was actually a little seed. It was a seed that was dropped in the ground. It was watered. It was nurtured. It was cared for. They kept the weeds out of the seed, and it matured. And slowly over time, you're looking at, depending on different kinds of trees, over the course of 20, 25 years, you have a fully grown mature tree. So that's how life is. So your seeds are the things in your life that you want to do. So you might decide that you want to get a college degree. We're just gonna throw that out there, right? That you want to get a college degree, or let's say you want to be a millionaire. So, like, that's the seed. Like, that's what you want out of your life. You are planting the seed. that you want to be a millionaire. Okay, so you drop your seed in the ground. I want to be a millionaire. Now, I'm going to tell you what most people do with their seeds, and I'm going to tell you how wealthy people take care of their seeds. So, most people are going to say, I want to be a millionaire. So, everybody has the ability to drop that seed into the ground. So, they drop that seed into the ground. They say, I want to be a millionaire. And then they go walk away from the seed. They don't even think about the seed no more. The seed start growing weeds up in it. It's malnourished. It hasn't got no water. They're not putting it out in the sun for it to grow. So what the seed do? If a plant don't have water, if it don't have fertilizer, and it got weeds that's growing all around it that's choking it off, because that's what a weed does. A weed chokes plants oxygen. That's why they tell you to keep the weeds out of your garden. It's not just because they are aesthetically ugly, but they literally, if you have landscaping, if you have plants in your garden, a weed will choke off the oxygen and the plant will not be able to breathe and it will die. Just like us. If I choke you, you're gonna die. Like if I choke you long enough, you will die. Somebody chokes you long enough and they resist your oxygen for long enough, you will pass away, unfortunately. It's the same thing with a plant. So most people, what they do with their seeds is they put them in the ground and don't ever think about them again. They don't ever come back and water them. They don't come back and put no fertilizer in them. They don't make sure they're getting enough sun. They just let the weeds grow up all around the seed. And then they look 10 years later, they looking at the seed, they come back to it. Oh, I had this seed. They come back to the seed and they wondering why the seed ain't growed up. They wondering why the tree ain't a fully grown tree. You didn't you put the seed in the ground and you walked away. You didn't water this seed not one day in your life, but you thought it was gonna grow. You let the weeds choke the seed out from day one, and you thought it was gonna grow. Come on now, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. So that's what most people do with their seed. And so what you call a person who puts a seed in the ground like that, those are what you call dreamers. I call those people dreamers. They're the people who always talk about what they want to do. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Really ain't doing nothing. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do. Those are the dreamers. Now the people who actually go out and do something, what they do. Here's what they do with their seed. Okay, I want to be a millionaire. They put that seed in the ground. Okay. Now they understand. Here's what they understand. The difference between the person who becomes wealthy and the person who doesn't become wealthy is they understand that it's necessary to constantly maintain and water their seed in order for them to reach full maturity of that seed. And so this is when we get into seed time, harvest time. So the person who reaches that point, they're watering their seed every day. They might be seeing it ain't really growing fast. It's growing slowly. It ain't, the it's why is it taking so long? Some weeds might sprout up. They getting the weeds out. Oh nope, we ain't letting no weeds. Nope, gotta get the weeds out. I'm gonna tell y'all what the weeds are in just a minute. But they see some weeds coming up. Oh nope, gotta get the weeds out. Nope, gotta get them out. Okay. I need to make sure you get enough sunlight. Okay. I need to make sure you get enough fertilizer so that you can flourish and nourish. That's what the person who ends up becoming a millionaire, that's what they do to their seed. They maintain it, they nurture the seed, they care for the seed, and the seed in return bears them the full maturity. You see, nothing happens by accident. Some people will look up and be like, how did this person become a millionaire? How did they do? And they're like, oh, he was just lucky. No, he watered some seeds for a long time behind closed doors that nobody saw. He kept the weeds out. He was diligent. Cause it's hard. It's hard when you got this seed that you planting, and you might be watering it every day. You over here keeping the weeds out. You ain't really seeing no movement. You ain't really seeing no growth, and you just staying diligent. Why? Because you planted that seed in the ground, and you said that this is what you gonna do. This is what you want. So we talked about the seed. We talked about the water. We talked about the fertilizer. I'm gonna tell you guys what the weeds are. So the biggest killer of a plant, because some people, you have some people that will do this. They'll have a seed, they'll water the seed, they'll fertilize the seed, but they'll let the weeds grow all around the seed. And the weeds are bad influences. The weeds are bad people in your life. People who are not aligned with your highest purpose. People who tearing you down, negative energy, people who drain your energy. That's the weeds. You got to get rid of the weeds, because what they're gonna do, they're gonna choke you off. They're gonna choke all your oxygen out. Then you ain't gonna be able to see the full maturity of your seed because you let the weeds choke it out. So that's what the weeds is in a metaphorical sense. The weeds are people in your life. Maybe vices. You might have some vices, bad habits. You might like to go out on the weekend. If you're a guy, you might have some vice. You a guy, you might like to, go out on the weekend, chase women, spend a whole bunch of money. That's a vice. That's a weed, you know. Or you might, have, substance abuse. Some people, they like to smoke, and do such and such. That's a weed. Gonna choke you out. Or you might have a drinking vice, vices, bad people. Anything that's bad, that's not associated with good, is a weed in your seed. And so you have to keep the weed, you have to keep the seed free of weeds. You can't let the weeds grow around your seed because it will choke off the seed. And so here's the good news that I want to tell you about your seed. You will reach full maturity. It is with mathematical certainty. If you put a seed in the ground and you water it, and when I say water, here's what I mean by water. Water means that if you say you want to be a millionaire, it means that you working, you putting the time in, you putting extra hours in. I just got done, y'all, working 10 hours. Just took a shower. It's 9 o'clock at night. I'm putting this content out for y'all because y'all need to hear this stuff. But you putting the work in, you putting the time in, you sacrificing. Okay, you know what? I could go buy a brand new car, but you know what? I'm gonna keep on driving this Honda Civic, and I'm gonna keep on putting money in my investment. That's watering your seed. So watering is doing things that further the progress of the goal that you're trying to achieve. You're not watering your seed if you say that you want to be a millionaire and you out here buying cars and you out here buying houses and you out here tricking off on women. If you're a guy, or if you're a girl, you out here. There's some girls who be tricking off on men too. You know, but the point is, if you doing needless spending, you every weekend you in a mall, you in the and you shopping, you in the bars, you just stuff that you don't really need to do. You not tending to your seed. You're not tending to your seed. But if you are putting in the hours, you putting in 10 hours a day, you are okay. Every time you get paid, you putting most of your money into investments. Okay, you sacrificing. You saying, okay, I'm gonna delay gratification. That's watering your seed. And so here's the thing. Here's how the universe operates. What for the rest of the creator of this universe, he said it in the beginning. For the rest of this, for as long as the earth endures, you will reap what you sow. So if you sow good, you gonna reap good. If you sow bad, you gonna reap bad. If you sow a seed into the ground that you want to be a millionaire, you gonna reap that. But the thing is, you don't know when you gonna get to that point. because there's only one entity that knows that, and that's the universe. So you don't know when. You can have a guess, a estimated timeline, but you don't know exactly when. Like you can't say on this specific day at this specific hour I will be a millionaire. There's no way you can guarantee that calculation like that. But I can guarantee you this: the seed will reach full maturity if you water it and keep the weeds out, and you fertilize, nourish it, and so forth. I can guarantee you that. And so that's how the wealthy people understand that you get out of life. Basically, what I'm saying and all that I'm saying, wealthy people understand that you're gonna get out of life what you put into life. You're going to get back what you put in. So if you put in bad, you gonna get bad. If you put in lazy, you gonna get lazy. Your hard work, if you working your butt off right now, your hard work will be rewarded. This is why like, I've had lives in the past where I talked about like anti-work and stuff like that. That is sin. It's evil because anything that's worth having in this life, you gonna put some work in. You gonna put some time in. You gonna sacrifice a lot along the way. Right now, I'm working 10 hours a day. I could be doing a lot other things with my time. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't get home till 8. I be doing a lot of other things with my time. I could be sleeping more, maybe. I could be at home. I could be, chasing out women. I could be playing video games. I could be going out to the bars on the weekend. I could be in the club. I could be doing a lot of things, other things with my time. But what am I doing? I got a one track mind. I got this seed that I've sown in the ground, and I'm watering that seed. I'm keeping the weeds out. And I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I'm gonna get up out of here. Man, the weeds are serious. The weeds, see, weeds grow faster than the seed do. You ever notice that? You might have this plant, and the plant don't even really grow, but the weed, man, the weed just sprouts up. That's the nature of weeds, man. They can come so fast and take over so quickly if you let them. And so, man, even in my own life, I had to sit up here and say, man, I had a weed come in real quick. Had to sit up here and say, nope, I'm not doing that. I cannot get distracted from the mission. No, I cannot do what it is that you're asking me. No, I have a mission. I'm on a one track mind. And if you ain't trying to get on a one track mind with me, if you ain't trying to get on the same page as me, hey, you can't get my time. You can't get my time. If you trying to pull me away from what it is I'm trying to do, if you trying to drain my energy from what it is I'm trying to do, you can't get my time. Now, if you gonna fuel my energy, if you gonna like feed into me, okay. If you gonna pour into me, then okay, you can have my time. Because I know that if you pouring into me, you pouring into my seed. But if you trying to take away from me, I understand that you trying to take away from my seed. You trying to choke my seed off. No, I can't do that. I'm not gonna let you do that. As the as the landscaper, as the architect of my garden, as the architect of my seed, I would be a bad gardener. I would be a bad landscaper of my life to allow you to do that to my seed. I'm not gonna let you do that. So I'm telling you, the weeds, and the higher you move up, the greater the opposition. But that's a whole nother life. But man, the weeds they start really growing, man. When you start really hitting like your ground running, and you in that zone, man, the opposition, that's gonna be a whole video that I talk to you guys about. Man, the opposition is crazy. Man, this path, I'm telling y'all, it's not for the faint of heart. It's hard. It's a mental thing. It is literally mental warfare. Everybody around you not gonna understand what you're doing, but that's okay because you got your seed and you understand what you're doing. Everybody, why you doing that? Why you all you do is work. That's what people tell me. All you do is work. Okay. Well, hey, one day you're gonna be calling me because you need some money. you know, you'll be calling Joseph for some money. I'm gonna be the one they call, but I'm the one they talk about right now. You see how they do it? That's how people are though. People don't want to be down with you while you out here trying to get it, but they want to get it once you got it. But anyways, y'all, I really would like it if some people had joined. Unfortunately, nobody joined. But this was a really great live. I got the base points out. Seed time, harvest time. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Hope you guys enjoyed the live. Till next time, my name is Joseph, and I'm out. Peace.